Very well, welcome. It's Freedom Talk Radio. It's Andy. It's freedomtalkradio.co.uk. Welcome back to the show. This is another weekly podcast with our good friend in Belfast, Arthur Rafferty, Senior. We're discussing the 1974 murder of his dad. Tonight we're going to concentrate on calling for a public inquiry in the next 45 minutes, and then the war crimes, because, you know, other people in the world, you know, in Serbia, in other countries, leaders have got done for war crimes. Why not in this case? You know, we've already heard that there's an inquiry going on with the Bedfordshire Chief Constable. He leaves in early July. But, you know, it's not enough. We need more, because we know these public inquiries, sorry to say, Arthur, but they don't always work. They don't always give you the remedy or the solution to your problem. And we know from the historical child abuse inquiries, especially in Northern Ireland, they don't even want to now, not only do they not want to listen to their people that have been abused in the care system in the assembly, the inquiry back there, they now, last week, do not want to give compensation to these, good people of Northern Ireland that got raped when they were children. They got beaten up when they were children. So, yeah, I think, Arthur, it's time for war crimes and inquiries, but war crimes may be the better route, and even the European Courts of Human Rights, well, we've still got Europe on our side because Mrs. May screwed up Brexit. But anyway, I'm not a lover of public inquiries. Welcome back to the show, Arthur.
Thanks very much, Andy. Andy, I'll tell you what it is. I've had a long, hard thought over the father's case over this past many years, and I see now that I'm not going to get any justice here in the north of Ireland, nor in Britain, because they're all run by the British court system. And I'm taking the British court to bat for murdering my father. So what I was going to try now, Andy, I've already wrote to the European Courts of Human Rights. I'm waiting on them getting back to me. But now I'm going to write to, I have a letter that they written all. I'm going to be posting that to the War Crimes Commission in The Hague. After all, the man that murdered my father, the ARA, was at war in this part of Ireland. They were battling the RUC and the British Army. And also the man that murdered my father was also an agent for the British Army. So therefore he had his two hands on both my father and as a spy. And I'm gonna try that way, because at least if I go that way, I make it a bit of maybe peace and justice, because going the other way through Britain, I'm never going to get any flipping justice there. And you want on, I'll just read just a wee piece of this paper here. It's about the spy.
Please do.
Britain's top ARA spy could face a UN war crimes trial for a murder 44 years ago. Freddie Scappaticci, codename Steak Knife, has been accused of being the Provost's top man who shot Arthur Rafferty in North Belfast in August 1974. Scappaticci was the Army's prize catch, and he done all their work for them. He ran the Nutting Squad in the ARA that hunted his own Provo informers. I can't see that tonight. His own poor. Yeah. Now, the victim's son, Arthur Jr., has written to the UN at The Hague, asking for it to prosecute Scappaticci as a war criminal. The UN said his complaint is being considered. Mr Rafferty, 74 years old, and now 79, told the Mirror, I have been fighting for 40 years to get justice for my poor unarmed father. Now I hope the UN will prosecute Scappaticci because neither the RUC nor the PSA will charge him, as he was a high-ranking British intelligence agent. Now, the true story of Mr Rafferty's murder would have remained secret until a former ARA leader broke cover before his death in 2008. Brendan the Dark Hughes, who lifted the lid on the 1972 murder of Bostein McConville, also rang Mr Rafferty in 2006 and asked for a meeting. Mr Rafferty says he was very afraid at first because he thought it was a setup by the ARA. He told me the names of 5 ARA men involved and Scappaticci fired the fatal shots. Now, according to Brendan Hughes, 2 men came into the bar and lured my father outside. They walked him around the corner into Newington Street, where they met another 2 ARA men, both armed. One was Scappaticci. My father started to run, as he must have known something was wrong. Scappaticci ran after him and at close range fired 12 rounds at him. 7 missed, but 5 of them practically cut my father in two, and from his injuries he died in the Royal Victoria Hospital on the 8th of September 1974. I think that would be my best policy on it, because if I put too much faith in the minute at the British court system here and here in Northern Ireland, and it is totally corrupt. Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, we always have to say allegedly corrupt, but, you know, I've had examples, not just about this particular case, but, you know, David, our good friend in Belfast, he's had problems with certain legal stuff. Patrick Coyle, a father in Belfast. Yeah, we can just keep going on. Tracy Morris. You know, that's just for Northern Ireland. We can talk Dublin and Southern Ireland cases. We can talk loads of British, UK cases, England, Wales and Scotland, and they all got one thing in common. You know, it's all the same government, all the same parliament, all the same political system, and that's what causes people the problem. So yes, it's a corrupt system. No, it's a corrupt system, but allegedly for PSNI and the Ombudsman in Northern Ireland, but the rest of the country's political system is corrupt, proven.
That's what I'm saying, Andy, because I've been to the Ombudsman. I've seen 3 ombudsmen and the police. The police run them, tell them what to do and what not to do. So what chance have we here if we're going to report something that the police have done to the Ombudsman? We're only wasting our time. As I'm saying, and I found that I'm going to get no satisfaction for my father. And as I'm saying there, my health's not good at the minute, and I'll just explain this to you. I wrote to the Belfast Trust with my doctor. Now, I was looking for money to fly to Liverpool to see my specialist, the man who diagnosed me with asbestosis, after 5 top specialists here in Northern Ireland couldn't see me with asbestosis at all. Now, I got word back this morning that they have refused me. Hello, that it doesn't surprise me, Andy, but they have refused me. I'll probably have to pay it myself, which I will. But what annoys me, Andy, Prince Charles and that thing he's married to, I've got £20 million to spend on repairs of Hillsborough Castle, a place where they only go about once a year. And also on the news today, that for the best, the rugby player has been granted the freedom of the city, I don't know what city, and a lunch costing the taxpayer, will you hear this, Andy, £40,000. They can spend that sort of money on them people, and they can't spend a small airfare to Liverpool and back again for me. And the sickness that I have was given to me by the British government. After all, they allowed the stuff to come into Northern Ireland.
I was going to say, Arthur, just remind us, not for me, but for the listeners that may be listening new tonight, just remind people, you've already said that 5 doctors in Belfast, Northern Ireland, couldn't diagnose you, but the Liverpool person did. Just explain what letter you got back today and who from, because I have a remedy, a solution within their NHS laws, because at the moment, and I'm sorry for the religious problems in Northern Ireland, Southern Ireland, but I know at the moment Belfast is part of the United Kingdom, and United Kingdom rules that if you are unhappy, if you're in Scotland as an example, and you don't like Scottish doctors, or you don't like the one where you live, you can go to another area. But it also means cross-border as well. Now, you're allowed, if you haven't got the right savings, I think you've got to be on some kind of state benefit, whether it be pension, whether it be other benefit, or pension that's not a pension from a big company. But basically, you can go from Belfast to London to Birmingham to Aberdeen to anywhere, Cardiff, and vice versa, providing you haven't got loads of money and you have a state benefit of some kind. It doesn't even have to be means tested, and they will refund. I mean, I must admit, they don't give you it in advance, but they will refund with you providing receipts every penny of your travel. And not just that, because most people are not bothered about travelling, but they, if we talk to the right people over here, they can arrange a transfer to Liverpool, for the NHS from Belfast to Liverpool to see that doctor, to get the paperwork correct. And I can help you with that, because my forte, or my biggest thing I've ever done for anybody is, I don't know why, but I can seem to talk to the NHS very well. I can make that happen. Trust me. I can't produce miracles, but that's an easy one if you need any help. But remind the listeners who the letter came from.
Well, it came from the Belfast Trust. It came to my doctor. Now, all I was asking for is the price of the fare to Liverpool to see my specialist in Liverpool and to fly back home. And they says they told my doctor that it wasn't possible at the moment.
It is possible.
I suppose it'll be possible for anybody else in Belfast or Britain, as you said, Andy. But it seems to me that the name Arthur Rafferty doesn't ring any bells.
Trust me, you're not that famous at the moment, but you will be. You will be, because I've got time for you, Arthur. I said I'd spend 3 or 4 weeks. If it takes longer, it takes longer. I've deliberately not took anything else on.
I appreciate that, Andy.
Big time, because I always believe in a job well done. And with David, it didn't need to go on air too much. One or two shows. Patrick, we did 4 or 5 broadcasts live from a hospital. And trust me, these little small things do work. Not because I'm bullying nobody. I think it's because I find a common ground with people to get the client, in this case you, what you want. And what you want is a simple NHS request, which is allowed to everybody. So maybe ring me in the morning and I'll get the ball rolling. It'll take a few emails to the Trust of Belfast and to Liverpool.
Yes.
I won't say no more on that, but ring me tomorrow, and politely I shall ask for you to be reimbursed to your Liverpool, consultant of your fare, whether it be by air, by boat, whichever you prefer. And I'll also find out the legislation in the morning that says that's possible. I mean, it's only normally not possible when, I suppose technically you choose to do it yourself with a private company. But if an NHS doctor in Liverpool is saying, yes, come over when you can, you're saying I can't afford it, well then, the Belfast Trust has to, by their own laws, give you that money. And if they don't, then they have to tell you in writing why not.
You see, Andy, what I think's wrong with the Belfast Trust, I expose their doctors for not doing their job. I expose them on the media, on Stephen Noon's show, on the press. I named their doctors and all, which I was entitled to do. After all, these people broke the law. They told me, they wouldn't even tell me what sickness I had. And I was attending hospital for 7 long years, seeing these doctors, and they were treating me all along with asbestosis. But when it was time for me to go to court, surprise, surprise, the asbestosis disappeared.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Southern Health Trust in Northern Ireland, they were so adamant that, our friends that I mentioned, I don't need to mention again, because I don't want to link names with trusts, but one of our friends we mentioned tonight was in one of their facilities, and trust me, there was a tough cookie to crack, but it was very simple that, I said to them, look, I'm not against you, and I won't publish anything that's not proper, but, we've got a problem here. That person needs this. You don't want to give them it. Where is the halfway ground? And I don't know whether they did it deliberately, but I'm sure they did. They had this guy kidnapped in their hospital system. They wouldn't let him out. That was their argument. I said to them, his argument is he wants some freedom. He's done nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with him. He may have a big gob. He loves his family. You know what I'm talking about. And
yes, yeah.
what they did in the end was allow him visiting out of the trust. Now, okay, that allowed him to do what he did. But they actually, even though it wasn't official, they actually allowed him to have his part of it, and them not to have any responsibility for him having his part of the problem. And I think this one with you and Belfast Trust regarding travel, I think this is an easier one, because we can get in touch with the travel scheme people in Newcastle, make them talk to the Belfast travel scheme equivalent. I know all the contacts because I do this every day and every day for other people. I know that this is not a problem. The only problem normally is when, say, Liverpool consultant says, I need a referral. If he says, I don't need a referral, you've got no problem getting your your travel money back.
As I'm saying, I wouldn't mind paying it out of my own pocket, but why should I? I was given asbestosis by the British government, and I got no help out of them doctors. Them doctors treated me like dirt. And they were surprised when I won my case, and I was to go to court. And when I went to court, I expected to see all them doctors there because I asked to make sure that they would be there. And what did they do? They settled out of court. They wouldn't even appear. So that's the type of people you're dealing with.
Let's talk about the timeline here. Wait, was the asbestosis problem before you campaigned for your dad, or was your dad's campaign first?
No, the asbestos was first.
Okay, so
I was campaigning for the fellow, but I would have to fight both his case and my own case at the same time. And believe you me, Andy, these people took me through the courts. And then eventually when I did win the case, I flew to Liverpool, I seen the specialist over there, I got diagnosed with asbestosis, I brought all of the proof back to Belfast here, I hit the Belfast Trust with it, they went to court, the only one who went to court was me, there was nobody else there. They settled out of court. They hadn't the balls to fucking face me, Andy. And these doctors, The 5 of them are still working in the main hospitals in Belfast and Antrim, diagnosing people.
Did you get compensation from Belfast Trust?
I got compensation from the government, not from Belfast Trust.
No, but because of the decisions.
Oh no, I didn't know. Sure, they wouldn't even speak to me. Nobody appeared in court. The only one that appeared in court was their barrister. And he spoke to my barrister, and the two of them was in the room, in and out. I was sitting there on my own. You think I was a leper?
So they never
then my
had.
barrister came and says, Arthur, they've settled out of court.
Yeah, settled out of court to me means you got compensation from Belfast, but you didn't. What they did was then they agreed that you were entitled to compensation from the asbestosis British Trust. Yeah, okay. They still admitted guilt, which means because they admitted guilt, there's no reason they can't throw you £200 or £300 for you to fly to Liverpool, have a night in let's call it a travel lodge for a £150 flight, £50 of food, and £50 if you want to get drunk. Even it's only going to cost them £300 or less. There's no reason. Do you know what? In Scotland, just to make people understand stuff, people from the islands of Stornoway, Shetland, and Orkney, and the Western Isles, they often fly in to either Aberdeen or Inverness because of transport problems. The boats take too long, and often people are ill, obviously, and they've got kids. So they obviously fly them there because it's quicker. And the standard routine flight, the cheapest ever, because it's last minute, is £200 or £300. On top of that, people are often given 2 or 3 nights in a hotel or in the hospital grounds where they've got self-catering flats. And on top of that, they get a meal allowance, although it's a voucher you take to the hospital restaurant. But that's what they're doing in Scotland, and they're doing that in England. They've got to. So why can't they do that in part of Great Britain, UK, in Belfast? And we're paying for it. The taxpayers are paying for it. Why can't they pay for you? Can't they pay for you? And they will. They will, trust me. Tomorrow you'll be phoning me.
They didn't like it because I stood up to them and I brought them to court. And I brought them all over the papers. And I won my case. And I came back. I took it to court. They still wouldn't appear in court. They put head somewhere in the road. And I haven't heard from them since. And I'm suffering with asbestosis now for 17 years. Like people normally die 2 or 3 years, as you were saying in your last show. And they can't understand how I'm still alive.
I think it's because you've got, not only have you got a will to live, but you've got a will for justice. And that sometimes can, help people live longer. And okay, obviously you're being managed with inhalers and breathing machines if you need them. But, that's not the point either. You should be allowed, and you are allowed, to visit any doctor of your choice in any area of your choice. I mean, like I was saying, it's unfortunate that Belfast and the UK mainland's got a bit of water. Therefore, going back to the political argument we had, why call it UK, Great Britain, when it's bloody Ireland? Because of that water, but because they want to call it Great Britain and UK, you're entitled to that travel. I mean, I've only just Googled it in the last 5 minutes, and people do go from Belfast to the UK, to this part of the UK, and they do get their travel funds. There's a form in Belfast, Northern Ireland, you fill in afterwards. I mean, sometimes in this country, if you're in Scotland, they'll give you advanced travel. In England and Wales, they'll give you advanced travel vouchers or they'll book flights for you. But in your case, they actually will refund you later when you come back with the receipts. But, I would claim it even if you're a millionaire, as long as you've not got any... I think it's to do with a big pension from a big company.
We have no pension at the doctor here. We've never had a pension.
If you're only on means tested or state benefits like pension credit or whatever, you're entitled to the travel.
You see, as I'm saying, Andy, if my name had been something else, I would have got it.
You'll get it.
Because it's Arthur Rafferty, that is a big, 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 big dot there.
No, Arthur Rafferty will get it. I don't normally swear. No, I can't swear on my life, just in case. But I'll swear on my dog's life, Benji, that you will get it, and they will decide within the next 7 or 10 days.
Well, Andy, I wouldn't hold my breath waiting on them, because I held my breath waiting on justice for my father, and look, I'm 44 years fighting it, and I've done everything possible. These people are the epitome of evil people.
I know your dad's case is a bit more complicated, but your personal case is easy.
It's complicated because only I went out of my way. I spent my 40-odd years of my life to find out who killed him. I found out who killed him. I've told the ombudsman, I've told the police, I've told the human rights, and none of them will do anything about it. This fellow seems to be untouchable. He's going to get away with it unless the War Crimes Commission. That's my last straw, because I wouldn't waste any more time on the courts here, because only they are corrupt.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have an idea as well of finding a lawyer in some other part of Europe or, Southern Ireland or even over here in the UK. There's got to be somebody that wants to take this case on, that's not corrupt, that doesn't want to take your money. There's got to be. We just got to find them. That's the problem.
Well, if you're looking for one between the lawyers and the solicitors here in the north of Ireland, you'll be looking, Andy. These people are the epitome of evilness. No doubt about it. And the only chance my father will have is through the War Crimes Commission.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Arthur. But you have to have hope.
That's what the next step is. The letter and all wrote here today. I'll be posting it now, so in the morning. Hoping that if they want to see me, I'll fly straight over there. So, and by the way, I'll not be asking the Belfast Trust to pay my flight. I'll pay me my flight over.
Well, I would.
Because I'm sick.
I mean, not you. The only reason I think it's important that we get you this airfare or travel money anyway is because if other people are in the same situation, it's not about you. It's about what's fair and what's not fair, and it is fair because there's a rule out there. So why don't we use you as a case, and then that will give other people the courage to speak out. And because I don't know any particular cases, but I do know they're out there. I just don't know them personally, where they want to travel somewhere else in our NHS, and they're told they're not allowed.
You see,
but they are allowed. They are allowed.
That's what's wrong with the people here in Northern Ireland. They won't stand up for themselves. And when a person like me stands up for my rights against the big people here, they don't like it. And they'll try and hammer me into the ground, but I'm going nowhere.
Now, I'll even say now, on the record, that we did hope for a very senior intelligence officer to do a show with us. Yeah. Kieran Conway, on record, he's made no attempt to communicate properly and always made excuses when I spoke to him. And not spoke to him, but emailed. That can only mean one thing, that he's wrote a book. He has named your dad and yourself as a very good case that needs justice, but he hasn't backed it up by coming on the show and You know, he's probably been told what to say in that book.
Of course he has. He's been told what to say by Mr. Adams. And we're looking forward to meeting that guy because that man and me would have hit it off. Or else it's something anyway. Because I was wanting to know what he was going to say about Scapatice. Because I would have told him what I know about Scapatice. And that's probably his problem.
It's a shame. And if
confront me.
And at the 11th hour, if Kieran Conway does listen to this, and
yeah.
I know he is.
I hope he is listening to it. And believe you me, I'm not a happy man with what they've done to my father. I speak to him by all means. I have respect for everybody, but my God, my good father got a terrible death, and everybody's fucking. He's getting nothing from nobody. I'm the only one fighting his case. I've went to everybody, legal aid, you name it. Not legal aid, human rights and everything. Nothing. Nobody would move.
And that's why, you know, in corruption cases, nobody does.
Yeah, exactly. They don't want to implicate themselves. They want to get fellow Scapatice living a life of luxury in London. Are you saying the British government is flying them here, is flying them there, back home, back and forward? Nobody's flying my father about.
And now nobody's flying you about to get your
or me
your diagnosis, not diagnosis, your ongoing consultants, you know, advice. I'm here tomorrow. I know we're yeah.
If you want to, I got a letter from Google, an email. A Samsung email was granted access to your Google account. They want me to change my password. And also O2. Someone made a call to an international number using your number. I have now had to block both accounts.
That's quite normal, though. I mean, I must admit.
Right.
It is quite normal, but you never know. There's always that one occasion where you think somebody's doing that deliberately. But the Google account one in particular is more normal than you calling an international one and you haven't. That is suspicious, but the Google account definitely is normal, yeah. They're overprotective on the internet.
Yeah, because I phoned them this morning. I had words with them this morning or two, and I explained that the PSNI have hacked into my phone at least 5 times that I know of, and the PSNI on 3 corrupt government agencies, all run by the British government staff, have hacked into the Arthur Rafferty Foundation victims group and took out 5 stories belonging to victims just to make a false case against me, causing that corrupt courts to fine me £500 run by the corrupt British system here in the north of Ireland. And the woman took all them statements down, so she did.
Yeah, was that fine ever published in the papers?
It wasn't in the papers.
Was it ever in the papers?
Never.
Because
No.
And that is suspicious, isn't it? Because if you're fined by someone, they normally publish it, and unless it's going into somebody else's pocket.
Yeah, especially me, because I've been I've exposed these people over the years. I'm surprised they didn't put it all over the papers. No. But no. Nobody mentioned it at all. Nobody knows about it.
Yeah, it should have gone in the papers.
It shouldn't have been in the papers at all because it was a false case brought by a false judge, and that's the judge that's sitting up and leg and saying, of course, trying people. How dare she? But there again, the people here will sit back and lap it up.
It's the same everywhere, unfortunately. But if you need my help, you know where I am. Just give me a call. Yeah, regarding Liverpool travel,
well,
I can write
if
to
they get
the trust.
it, if I don't get it, I'll tell myself and go over. And when I get the news, which I hope it's not that yet, because the last stage of asbestosis is a thing called mesothelioma. That's the last stage of it. That's the final stages of it. When you have that, you're on your way out, Andy, you know. And I can feel my health at the minute. It's not great. But it's not bad, but it's not great. But I know myself that I should be a lot fitter.
So really you need a proper MOT really by Liverpool to say, look, you know, you need to do this, you need to take this, you need to not do this, and yeah, I get it, yeah. Otherwise you wouldn't have needed to go, would you, if you weren't feeling that way?
I have had proper doctors here in the first place, Andy, and the tests that the doctors done here were the exact same tests as Dr. Chris Warburton done over in Liverpool. Yes, he was able to show me the scar, all the prints and all, and says, look at that there, Arthur. Do you see all them black dots? That's your inside of your kidneys. That's your lungs. Yet the doctors here, six of the top doctors here with their staff couldn't see it. It makes you wonder.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want, I mean, it's up to you, but I was going to say, do you want to mention any of these doctors that have been bad in Belfast? You don't have to, but, and also, second question is, explain, you know, what doctor in Liverpool did, and they, you know, what did they do differently, or what did they do the same?
Well, as I'm saying, only the doctors here, the 5 main hospitals here, they took me through, they've done all the tests, and I spent all that time doing all these tests. Yet, the first one that examined me says I did have asbestosis straight away. That was in 2001. And the mother hospital was treating me for 7 years, running back and forward. Although they were doing nothing, only keeping tabs on me, just checking my lungs and my chest and my blood pressure. Then when it was time to go to court, that's when the whole wheels fell off it. A barrister said to me, you haven't got it. The hospital's made a mistake. But surely, the hospital's, the first person that should have known that should have been me. The confidentiality act there between doctor and client. But no, a barrister came up to me in court, and he had fucking died, but he said it. I haven't seen him since, like. But I sacked him in court, him, I was a mate. And I went back to Joe Kidney. I said, Joe, what's happening here? He says, Arthur, this doctor from the city hospital says that you don't have it. I said, well, how in the name of God can he say that? He sat at his desk reading papers. I was sitting at the other side of the desk. He never put his hand near me. So how can he not diagnose me? Like a serious illness. That's the way they treat people. And the same happened to a doctor in the Antrim area hospital. She didn't even talk to me at all. She read the papers, said, thank you very much, Mr. Rafferty. I left. 4 weeks later, I got a letter. She said, good news, Mr. Rafferty, you don't have asbestosis. And she never laid a finger on me. God. And that's the people you have here calling themselves asbestos specialists. I'll tell you what, Andy, God help anybody is going to these doctors. Their interests are hidden. And that's why the trust doesn't like me, because I exposed them and I went over their heads. I flew to Liverpool, I got my diagnosis, I came back and I flew to court. Still, they wouldn't attend up in court. They had.
Are you allowed, do you want to, just a yes or no, do you want to name any of the bad doctors?
I wonder, would I be up for a level only, because these people are only waiting on a chance at me. Yeah.
All right.
If you could find out for me, by all means, I'd spare the names, no problem. I have the names wrote out. And the people who, maybe the people in the other hospitals who have anything to do with these doctors, I'll flip and run a mail from them.
We'll talk about that one privately then, because
yes,
it's a little bit, yeah. Sorry to have put you on the spot, but I always believe, you know, name and shame people if you've got proof that they've done bad to you, and the only proof that you need in this case is that they didn't diagnose you and their name is ABC. But we'll talk about that angle in the next couple of days.
That's the problem, Andy. I put my name on you. As I'm saying, it's no good going to any of these barristers and ask them would it be legal to do that. You couldn't trust these people as far as you could throw them.
No, but divine intervention always works. Sometimes you've got to. This is what a good lawyer would be capable of if only they did it. Listen to both sides of the argument. Try and find common ground in between the two, and then but suggest to both parties what's good.
Yes.
And normally that works because you're not just going on what Arthur wants. You're not just going on what the trust wants. You're going on the common ground, what's in the middle. And I can see that you got Liverpool's easy. But we've got 2 minutes left. Let's just talk quickly. Just to re-emphasise, the public inquiry. It's with Bedfordshire Police. It's a waste of time in your mind, and I do believe it. I do believe that now, because the Kenovo inquiry, they've not once emailed me back, and I know they're getting the emails because I get a red receipt.
Yes.
It's a shame that they're playing the long game. They want us to keep doing it, and we'll keep doing it until they answer. Everyone, the trust, the police, the courts, until they answer with the reasons why they didn't help Arthur Rafferty, or the reason why he's not entitled to this, that, and the other, the inquiry, the blah, 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 the health. We'll just keep hitting them and hitting them and hitting them. It's not a threat. It's a peaceful protest for you to wake up, Northern Ireland. And we know that, we do know, and I can't explain it very well in a minute, but Northern Ireland was a false flag event. It was the first false flag event before 9/11 even. And it was orchestrated. In other words, it was made to happen by British government. They wanted the Catholics and the Protestants to fight, blah blah blah, and now they're trying to do that with the Muslims and the white British, the white Irish, the white world against the Muslims. It was man-made, and it didn't have to happen. But there you go.
Oh, goodness sake.
A few seconds and they'll cut us off.
Right. Is that the end of the show then, Andy?
Yeah, a few seconds.
Well, if you want, when you go off air, I'll give you the names of these people, and if you want, you can put them on. Because I have nothing to hide. What these people done was illegal. Illegal it was. And they're all run by the Belfast Trust. So the Belfast Trust knew exactly what they were doing.
Keep that confidential.
Yeah. Because I had nothing